Hey guys, welcome to CodeChef's YouTube channel. The problem that we're going to discuss today is chef and water car. The problem appeared in October 21 lunchtime and has a difficulty level of easy. There are no prerequisites to solve this problem. The problem statement goes as follows. It is given that chef has a water car and he is going to use that car to race on the formula racing track which has a road of n-1 kilometers and has checkpoints that start from 1 and go all the way up to n from left to right. So the checkpoints will look something like this. Checkpoint 1 over here, then we have checkpoint 2, 3, all the way up to the last checkpoint is n. So the total distance is n-1 kilometers because between each checkpoint, each consecutive checkpoint, the distance is 1 kilometer. Okay, so that is why the total distance is n-1 kilometers. Initially, chef is present at checkpoint 1. So initially chef is present over here and his water car is empty. Okay, also it is given that at every checkpoint there is a water station. So since the fuel for this car is water, he can refuel the car by filling 1 liter of water at a checkpoint, but the cost is different at each checkpoint. That is, he has the option to refuel the car at any checkpoint, but the cost at each checkpoint is equal to the checkpoint number. That is, if he decides to, let's say, fill 4 liters of water at checkpoint 5. So basically, whatever is the checkpoint number is the cost. So that will get multiplied with 4. So 5 into 4, total of 20 cost will be incurred to chef. Okay. So keep this in mind. Along with that, it is also given that chef cannot store more than V liters of water in the tank. So there is a capacity on how much liters of water can be stored at a time in the car, and that is V. Now, chef is interested to know both the minimum as well as maximum cost of filling the water such that he reaches the checkpoint number n. So obviously, to move the car, water is required in that, and he has to refill at some point, and he is going to refill in such a way that he wants both the minimum cost of refilling as well as the maximum cost of refilling that can occur. Okay. Also, keep one more condition in mind that when chef reaches the nth checkpoint, that is the last point, he shouldn't have any water left in the tank. So the tank should be empty when the car reaches checkpoint n. Okay, and also in the beginning at checkpoint number 1, the tank was empty. So keeping these points in mind, we have to solve the question. So let's now see the solution approach. So the solution approach for this problem goes as follows. First of all, we need to identify that what number are we exactly trying to achieve. Okay, we know that we want the minimum number and maximum number, but what exactly is that quantity? Okay, so for that, let's first analyze the question. So there were n checkpoints. So the checkpoints started from the number 1 and went all the way up to n. Also, it is given in the question that for traveling 1 kilometer, 1 liter of water is required. So what it means is that we want to cover the total distance. What is the total distance? The total distance in the problem is actually n-1 kilometers, right? So this means that we are going to need n-1 liters of water, right? Because we want to cover n-1 kilometers, so exactly we will require n-1 liters of water. Why not more? Because in the end, when we reach the nth point, our tank should be empty, and also we begin with an empty tank. So that is why exactly n-1 liters of water we are going to buy uh, for our tank. Okay, So the question now is where to buy this n minus 1 liters of water, because we have many options to buy. Either we can buy it at checkpoint number 1, checkpoint number 2, and so on. Also, we have to keep in mind that we cannot buy everything at one place, because there is a limit on the capacity of the tank. The capacity is given to us as V liters. So at a time, you cannot hold more than V liters of water in your tank. So what we can do is, uh, how I approach this problem is that basically we want to, for each of these liters, we want to know at which checkpoint I bought that liter of water. Okay, so what we can do over here is that maybe represent them in the form of fill in the blanks, right? We have total n minus 1 fill in the blanks. Okay, these are how many in total? These are total n minus 1 fill in the blanks. And we have to fill a number in each of them. Okay, like we have to fill a number 1 over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The number should be such that you should be able to travel from checkpoint 1 to checkpoint n, and also the capacity should never exceed V. Okay, and what is going to be the cost, total cost incurred? It is just going to be the sum of these numbers. Why? Because the checkpoint number is the cost of the 1 liters water at that checkpoint. So now that we have kind of reframed the question, now the question remains how to find the minimum and the maximum value. So definitely, if you want the cost to be minimum, you will try to fill the maximum amount of water towards the left, that is towards the start of the journey. Your journey starts from here and ends over here. So the cost is lesser over here, right? Cost goes on increasing in a uniform way from left to right. So you will try to fill as much water as you can in the beginning only to have minimum cost. So how will it look like? Simply, if your capacity is V, just fill the first V entries at checkpoint 1. Okay, so let's say if the value of V was 6, you fill 6 liters of water in checkpoint 1 only. So the total cost will be 6 into 1. And that's what you can see over here. We have written 6 times 1. So the addition is nothing but 6 into 1. Now what will happen? As soon as you travel 1 kilometer, your tank will get empty by 1 liter. So you now have one free space. So where will you prefer to fill that empty space? Will you prefer to fill it up at 4, or will you prefer to fill it up at 2? Definitely, the more it is towards the left, the better. Because why? Because right now we are going for the minimum cost. So it is pretty obvious and intuitive over here that as soon as you travel 1 kilometer, you refill the petrol by 1 liter. So initial V liters are filled in the first checkpoint, and after that you travel 1 kilometer, fill the petrol. Sorry, not the petrol, actually it's water. Then again you travel 1 kilometer, you fill it again you fill it again, and so on. So this is how the distribution is going to look like. And what is the answer? The answer is simply addition of all these values. And I think that can be easily found out using a mathematical formula. Okay. So this is for the minimum. What is for the maximum? For maximum, you will avoid this thing. Okay. This blue thing you are going to avoid. Why? Because you don't want to fill the majority of the water towards the very beginning. But you cannot skip filling water at first checkpoint. Why? Because initially your tank was empty. So you start with 1. So how it is going to look like for maximum? For maximum, it is going to look like this. We have n minus 1 blanks with us. You start with 1 liter of petrol, sorry, 1 liter of water, because you had an empty tank. Then you traveled 1 kilometer. Again, your tank got empty. Again, you have to fill it. Again you travel 1 kilometer, again your tank got empty, and so on. And you will see that this is the only way in which you are getting the maximum value. So simply the addition from 1 to n minus 1. Add all these numbers and you get the maximum possible value. Add these numbers and you get the minimum value. So I think this completes the solution approach. Uh, Finding the formula is a mathematical part. I am sure everyone will be able to do it by themselves. If not, uh, just refer the mathematical formula for sum of first n natural numbers. That is more than enough for solving this problem. Because here also you have sum of first n natural numbers, and here also you have a part which is sum of first n natural numbers. So you can use that to your help. The formulas will come out and then we just have to output two numbers, the maximum and the minimum. So let's jump to the C++ and Python implementation now. So the implementation is going to look like this. First we take the input for n and v for each test case. Then I create two variables min and max. Same goes in Python. Uh, the for loop is for number of test cases. I take the input for n and v. Then I create two variables min and max. The value of maximum is always fixed. It is the sum of first n minus 1 natural numbers, that is n minus 1 into n divided by 2. Same we have in Python as well. For minimum, if v exceeds n minus 1, it means that you can fill all the water in the first checkpoint only. So the answer is going to be n minus 1. Pretty obvious. So we just do that, and that is again my by default value in Python as well. But if the value of v is less than n minus 1, so some part will be filled at first checkpoints and the subsequent parts, subsequent liters will be filled one by one and in the other checkpoints, that is 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So that's what we get from this formula. We fill v liters in the first checkpoint, and after that for the remaining ones, the mathematical formula again for sum of first n minus v natural numbers, and we have to subtract 1 from that. Why? Because we are starting actually the summation from 2. All these ones are part of v, and the 2 plus 3 plus 4 is this other part in the implementation. So just the mathematical formula we have over here, and once we have the both variables we just output them max and min. Same in Python as well. So let's now submit the solution on CodeChef ID and let's hope for a quick AC. So let's just paste our solution, change the language and submit. Great. So our solution works. I hope you guys understood the problem as well as the explanation. If you have any doubts, you can post them in the comments below. I'll try to answer as much as I can.